Before anything else, take a slow breath and let the world around you quiet just a little. Tonight, you're stepping into a journey shaped by water, the oldest companion Earth has ever known. Long before mountains rose, long before life began, water was already drifting through the universe, carrying the calm of stars in every tiny drop. And now, that same ancient water flows through rivers, rests in oceans, rises into clouds, and moves gently through you. As you listen, let each fact settle over you like soft rain. Let each image drift across your mind like a quiet wave. You don't need to focus too hard. You don't need to stay alert. This is a story designed to ease you into rest. A slow, flowing path of wonder meant to help your thoughts unwind. Tonight, we follow 102 calm facts about water, not as information, but as a rhythm, a gentle current carrying you from cosmic beginnings to inner stillness. By the end, you may be awake, or you may already be drifting into sleep. Either way, you'll feel lighter, quieter, and more connected to the calm that moves through the world. So settle in, let your breath slow, and let the first drop of this journey begin. Water older than Earth. Long before rivers shaped valleys or oceans wrapped themselves around continents, the universe held a quieter beginning. In the first moments after the Big Bang, when everything was still finding its form, tiny hydrogen atoms drifted like soft sparks in an endless dark. They wandered without direction, waiting for a future they could not see. For a moment, everything simply floated. Across vast stretches of space, stars were born and died in glowing bursts, releasing oxygen into the quiet. When these newborn elements finally touched, they formed the earliest traces of water. Small, fragile droplets swirling gently through cosmic clouds. Imagine them drifting for billions of years, unhurried, untouched, older than any world they would one day fall upon. One of those droplets might have glided between galaxies before finding its path toward a young, molten Earth. The planet had no oceans yet, no rivers, not even a sky as we know it, just heat, rock, and rising steam. Yet the ancient droplet continued forward, carrying memories from a time when the universe was barely awake. When it finally reached Earth, it joined countless others arriving from deep space, each one older than the mountains that had not yet formed. These droplets gathered, cooled, and settled, becoming the first hints of the water we now drink, touch, and live within. The water in your body today once wandered through cosmic night, untouched and eternal, waiting for you. And in that quiet drift, another story begins. Comment the word "star drop" if you're listening carefully, and soon these drifting droplets come together to form oceans. How comets delivered Earth's first oceans. Imagine a young Earth, glowing with heat, its surface too hot for oceans, too wild for calm. The sky was filled with dust and firelight, and everything moved in slow, heavy breaths. Into this restless world came travelers from deep space, icy comets carrying ancient water frozen since the earliest days of the universe. They drifted silently through darkness, guided only by gravity and time, each one carrying a treasure hidden beneath its shining crust. As Earth cooled, these comets began to fall toward it, pulled in by the planet's growing mass. Their arrival wasn't loud or violent in this telling. It was slow, almost rhythmic, as if the universe were delivering water gently, piece by piece. Each comet released a small fraction of its icy heart upon impact, melting into vapor, steam, and finally liquid. And for a moment, everything felt still. as if the world paused to receive this delicate gift. Over millions of years, countless comets continued this quiet delivery. Their ancient ice gathered in shallow basins, filling cracks, coating stone, forming early pools that would one day become vast oceans. This process was patient, unhurried, shaped by cosmic intention rather than force. Oceans were not created in an instant. They were breathed into existence by the steady arrival of frozen wanderers. If you listen closely, you can almost imagine the soft hiss of ancient ice meeting warm stone, the beginning of Earth's water story. And somewhere in that slow exchange, the first true oceans were born, shimmering beneath a young and changing sky. Comment the word ancient water before we continue. And as these icy messengers arrived, water began learning how to move. Why water loves to move. There is a quiet truth about water that often goes unnoticed. It is never fully at rest. Even in the stillest moments, even in a silent pond under a pale morning sky, water is gently shifting, leaning, responding to the world around it. Something in its nature invites motion. From the smallest droplet sliding down a leaf to a distant river winding toward the sea, water seems to seek pathways, always searching for where it belongs next. And for a moment, everything feels calm as you imagine this soft, steady wandering. Part of this movement begins at the molecular level. Water's shape allows it to cling to itself and to other surfaces, pulling, stretching, sliding with effortless grace. It reaches out, attaches, releases, forming delicate chains that encourage flow. This is why a drop spreads across glass, why it curls into beads on a feather, why streams form naturally after rain. Water listens to gravity, to wind, to temperature, and responds with gentle obedience, letting each force guide its journey. Imagine water falling from a high cliff. It doesn't resist the air, it embraces it, breaking into mist, gathering again, swirling in soft spirals before meeting the ground. Its movement isn't hurried. It's expressive, almost alive. Water moves because movement allows it to shape the world, to carve valleys, to nourish life, to carry stories from one place to another. Every ripple, every wave, every drifting current is part of this ancient instinct. And somewhere in this flowing nature, water reveals its deepest secret. It was made to travel. Type the word flow in the comments, because these simple movements would soon create the first landscapes on Earth. The cosmic recipe: hydrogen, oxygen. Before water could move, before it could gather into oceans or fall as rain, its ingredients had to be created in the quiet furnace of the universe. Hydrogen, the simplest and oldest element, appeared in the very first moments after the Big Bang. It drifted like pale dust across a dark canvas, patient and unshaped, waiting for its companion. Oxygen arrived much later, forged within the blazing hearts of stars that lived their brilliant lives and then released their contents in gentle cosmic bursts. When these two elements finally met, something delicate and enduring began to form, and for a moment, everything felt still, as if the universe paused to watch this union. Imagine hydrogen floating freely, light enough to slip through space with almost no weight. Then imagine oxygen emerging from a dying star, setting off on its own silent voyage. When they found each other, they bonded with surprising ease, creating a molecule unlike anything before it. A molecule capable of flowing, freezing, rising, falling, and shaping entire worlds. Water became one of the universe's most expressive creations, built from two simple elements that carried within them the memory of stars. Hydrogen brought softness, flexibility, the ability to drift. Oxygen brought strength, clarity, the ability to bind and protect. Together, they formed a partnership that would one day fill oceans, carve rivers, and sustain living beings. Their connection was not forced. It was natural, inevitable, written into the physics of creation itself. And from this quiet pairing came the first signs of a world waiting to be shaped. Write bright beginning in the comments if this feels calming, because once these elements met, the universe gained something new and magical. Early Earth, a world wrapped in steam. Imagine the young Earth not as the blue and gentle world you know today, but as a glowing sphere still settling into its shape. Its surface was a restless ocean of molten rock, swirling with heat, shifting with the slow breath of creation. Volcanoes rose and collapsed in moments, sending clouds of vapor into the air. The atmosphere was thick and warm, filled with steam that wrapped the entire planet in a soft, shimmering haze. And for a moment, everything felt suspended between fire and the promise of water. As Earth cooled, this blanket of steam began to swirl into layers, drifting like ghostly curtains across the sky. The planet exhaled heat, and the vapor thickened, turning the whole world into a vast, foggy chamber. It was neither land nor sea, just heat, air, and the beginning of something greater. Every hour brought tiny changes. Minerals settled, crust hardened, and the steam above grew heavier, preparing for a transformation that would reshape everything. Picture the ground trembling gently, warmth rising from below, and clouds shifting with slow intention. The steam held oceans within it, oceans not yet ready to fall, not yet ready to be named. But as temperatures dropped further, the veil of vapor began to break apart. Droplets formed, clung together, and waited, heavy with possibility. The first raindrop in Earth's history was only moments away, and within that suspended silence, the world stood on the edge of its first great release. Comment the word steam cloud before we move on, because from this thick blanket of vapor, the first raindrop was about to fall, the first raindrop that ever fell. Imagine the entire planet holding its breath. The sky above was heavy with steam, a thick blanket of warm vapor gathered from the cooling surface below. For millions of years, that vapor drifted, circled, and clung to the air without ever falling. But slowly, as Earth released more heat into the vast darkness of space, the steam began to cool. Tiny droplets formed high in the sky, small at first, then growing heavier as they merged with others. And for a moment, everything felt silently expectant. Somewhere within that dense atmosphere, one droplet reached a point where it could no longer stay suspended. It let go. No thunder, no wind, just a quiet descent through warm layers of air. As it fell, it cooled further, becoming clearer and smoother, shaped by the air passing around it. It was the first raindrop in Earth's history, a simple bead of ancient water finding its way home. Imagine its journey downward, drifting through haze, slipping past newborn currents, gliding through a sky that had never seen rain before. When it finally touched the hot surface, it hissed softly and disappeared in an instant. But it was not alone. Millions more followed, falling gently at first, then steadily, then in a downpour that lasted for ages. These first rains cooled the earth, softened stone, filled hollows, and began carving the places where rivers and oceans would someday form. That first raindrop carried within it the promise of everything water would one day become. And somewhere in that gentle fall, a new chapter of Earth began. Type first strain. If rainy moments bring you calm, because once the rain began, the world slowly opened its oceans. The ocean, before life, had a name. After centuries of rain softened the Earth's surface, water began to gather in the planet's deepest places. Slowly, shallow basins filled, and what had once been a world of fire and steam became a world wrapped in shimmering blue. These early oceans were quiet, untouched, and utterly empty. There were no fish to disturb the water, no coral to glow beneath the waves, no plants drifting in the currents. Just vast stretches of stillness reflecting the sky like polished glass. And for a moment, everything felt peacefully new. Imagine standing at the edge of that ancient sea. The air would be warm, the light soft, and the shoreline silent. Waves would move in rhythmic whispers, carrying nothing but the memory of rain. These waters were young but ancient at the same time, formed from droplets older than Earth itself, gathered from comets, steam, and drifting cosmic ice. They existed before anything had a name, before any creature had eyes to see them or voices to describe them. In this calm expanse, the ocean waited. It held minerals, heat, and the potential for something extraordinary, though no life yet stirred in its depths. The world was quiet, but full of possibility. Every ripple, no matter how small, carried the seeds of future stories, waiting for the moment when warmth and chemistry would create the first spark of life. These oceans were Earth's first cradle, still and patient, preparing for a transformation that would shape everything that followed. And somewhere beneath that silent surface, the future was gathering strength. Right ocean calm. In the comments, if this ancient stillness felt soothing, because these silent oceans were about to become Earth's memory. How oceans became Earth's memory system. Long before life learned to swim or breathe, the oceans were already quietly recording the story of the planet. Every wave that rose and fell carried traces of minerals from the land. Every current that drifted across the sea moved warmth from one region to another. The oceans were not just vast bodies of water. They were Earth's earliest storytellers, collecting pieces of the world and holding them gently in their depths. And for a moment, everything felt steady, as if the planet's heartbeat moved through the water itself. As rain washed over mountains and stones, it carried fragments of them back into the sea. These minerals settled slowly into layered sediments, each layer a soft page in the ocean's book of time. Temperature shifts left their marks too, recorded in shells and sediments formed over thousands of years. Even the quiet movement of deep currents helped shape a map of Earth's past climates, carrying warmth and cold in patterns that would later reveal ancient secrets. Imagine diving deep into those waters where sunlight fades and silence thickens. Down there, the ocean holds memories untouched by wind or weather, traces of volcanic eruptions, whispers of shifting continents, the signatures of long-lost environments. The sea remembers every change, storing it gently in its depths. In this way, the oceans became Earth's memory system, a quiet archive shaped by movement, heat, and time. And somewhere in those patient layers, the earliest signs of life were beginning to gather. Comment, water memory, to continue the journey. Because from these patient oceans, the first flowing rivers began to form. The first river that ever flowed after the ocean settled into their quiet shapes Something new began to stir across the young earth. Rain continued to fall, sometimes softly, sometimes in long, steady waves that soaked the ground and filled shallow pools. Over time, these pools began to overflow, sending thin threads of water trickling across the land. At first, they were only narrow paths, weaving gently between rocks and soil. But as more water gathered, these threads deepened, carving soft grooves into the Earth's surface. And for a moment, everything felt like the planet was learning to move. Imagine one of these early channels. Water hurries forward, guided only by gravity, sliding along the simplest route it can find. With every drop that joins it, the path grows clearer. The ground shapes the water, and the water shapes the ground in return, a quiet partnership forming between the two. This was the birth of the first river, not a rushing torrent, but a delicate winding flow, exploring the planet like a traveler discovering new land. With each passing season, rain deepened the river's course. Minerals washed down from mountains, settling into its bed, while currents learned to twist and turn around obstacles they could not wear away. Over thousands of years, that gentle flow carved valleys, nourished the plains, and carried stories from one place to another. This first river marked the beginning of Earth's great networks of movement, threads of water that would one day support forests, animals, and life itself. It was the planet's first long breath, released softly across stone and soil. Type the word river path if you're still with me, because every flowing path leads to a deeper truth about the water inside you. Every drop you hold is ancient stardust. Imagine holding a single drop of water on your fingertip. It may seem simple, clear, and familiar, but its story stretches back farther than Earth itself. Long before the first mountains rose or the first river flowed, the atoms inside that tiny drop drifted through the darkness of early space. Hydrogen, created in the first seconds after the Big Bang, waited billions of years to find oxygen, born inside ancient stars that lived brilliant lives and died in soft, glowing bursts. When these elements finally joined, water began its cosmic journey, and for a moment, everything felt timeless. Some of this water drifted across galaxies carried by comets, dust clouds, and the slow tide of gravity. Some settled in icy shells around distant worlds. Some wandered alone, suspended in interstellar clouds, untouched by anything but starlight. And eventually, pieces of it found their way to a young, forming Earth, falling as ice, steam, or early rain. This ancient water cooled the ground, filled the oceans, carved the rivers, and shaped the environment that life would one day rise from. The same water has been cycling ever since. It has evaporated into skies, fallen as rain, flowed through rivers, drifted in oceans, frozen into glaciers, melted back into streams, and traveled through countless living beings. The drop you drink today once drifted between stars. The water inside your cells once floated freely in the universe, waiting for a world to belong to. You are made of something ageless, something that remembers the earliest light. And somewhere inside that quiet realization, the next story begins. Comment "Ready for Calm" if you want the next chapter, because now the calm facts of water begin their gentle flow. Calm fact number 1. Water exists naturally in all three states. If you pause for a moment and imagine the world around you, you will find water quietly present in more forms than you might expect. It moves through the world as liquid, settling into rivers and oceans. It freezes into ice, resting on mountaintops or drifting as ancient glaciers, and it rises as vapor, floating unseen in the warmth of the air. Water is the only substance on Earth that shifts effortlessly among all three states, changing with a softness that mirrors the calm rhythm of nature itself. And for a moment, everything feels wonderfully simple. In its liquid form, water slips through your fingers, shaping itself around anything it touches. It fills spaces, carves landscapes, and carries life gently from one place to another. When it becomes solid, it slows the world down, ice traps memories, preserves ancient air, and settles into stillness as if resting from a long journey. And when water becomes vapor, it rises light and invisible, drifting through the sky with a freedom that defies its weight, preparing to return again as rain. This gentle ability to transform allows water to travel endlessly. It leaves the ocean, wanders into clouds, returns to earth, freezes in the cold, melts in the sun, and begins again. Every shift is quiet. Every change is purposeful. Each transformation helps keep Earth balanced and alive. The next time you hold a glass of water, imagine it drifting as vapor, resting as ice, and flowing as a river, all within the same ancient cycle. And somewhere in that quiet cycle, the next calming truth is waiting. Comment 3 states if this gentle fact felt calming. Because the age of the water you drink holds an even deeper wonder. Calm fact number 2. Every glass of water you drink is billions of years old. Take a slow breath and picture the water in your hands, whether in a glass, a bottle, or simply imagined. It looks new, clear, and fresh, yet its story reaches back farther than the earth beneath your feet. The molecules within that single sip have been wandering the universe for billions of years. Long before our planet took shape, long before mountains rose or oceans formed, this water drifted through interstellar clouds, carried by gentle cosmic winds, and for a moment, everything feels infinitely old and beautifully connected. Some of this ancient water arrived on Earth locked inside icy comets. Some condensed from steam as the surface cooled, falling as rain onto a newborn world. Over ages, it sank into oceans, rose into the sky, fell again, seeped through soil, and traveled through rivers. Each cycle purified it, reshaped it, moved it forward. Water never disappears. It only transforms, repeating its journey in endless loops that stretch across time. Imagine the water you drink today passing through the gills of ancient fish, drifting beneath glaciers, resting in deep aquifers untouched by sunlight, and rising into clouds thousands of times. It may have quenched the thirst of early mammals, or settled in the quiet depths of prehistoric seas. Every drop carries the memory of worlds and ages. Holding a sip of water is holding the past itself, a fragment of the universe that has survived everything, returning again and again to nourish life. And somewhere in that timeless journey, the next calming truth begins to unfold. Type ageless in the comments, because the blue glow of our planet reveals another gentle truth about water. Calm fact 3. Water makes our planet look blue. When astronauts first looked back at Earth from space, they described a sight unlike anything they had imagined. A soft, glowing sphere wrapped in shades of blue. That gentle color comes almost entirely from water. Oceans absorb the warmer colors of sunlight, like reds and yellows, and reflect the cooler tones back into space. What returns to our eyes is a calm, soothing blue, a color that seems to breathe slowly as the planet turns. And for a moment, everything feels peaceful, as if the world itself is exhaling light. Imagine floating far above the earth, watching its oceans curve gently around the continents. The deeper the water, the richer the blue becomes, fading into lighter shades near shorelines where sunlight can reach the sandy bottom. These variations create a living painting, one that shifts with weather, seasons, and the quiet rhythms of waves. Even clouds drifting above the water seem to move more softly when seen from such heights, as though cradled by the blue beneath them. This color has shaped how we see our home. It brings comfort, calmness, and a quiet sense of belonging. The blue glow reminds us that Earth is alive, moving, breathing, and filled with water that supports nearly everything. When you look at pictures of our planet, you aren't just seeing color. You're seeing the reflection of ancient oceans, vast and gentle, carrying sunlight back into the universe. The blue of Earth is the softest signature of water, written across the surface of our world, and within that soft glow, another calming truth is waiting. Write blue planet below, because even though water surrounds us, most of it remains untouched by human hands. Calm fact number 4, water covers 71% of Earth, yet most is untouched by humans. If you could spread out a map of Earth before you, not one marked with borders or cities, but one colored only by land and water, you would see that nearly 3/4 of our planet is covered in blue. 71%. It's a quiet dominance, a soft blanket of oceans stretching farther than any road or story can reach. And yet, for all this water surrounding us, humans have explored only a tiny fraction of it. Most of the ocean remains untouched, unmapped, and unseen, and for a moment, everything feels wonderfully mysterious. Imagine standing at the shore, watching waves curl toward your feet. Just beyond the place where sunlight begins to fade, the world becomes unfamiliar. The deeper you go, the less we know. Entire mountain ranges lie submerged in darkness. Valleys deeper than the Grand Canyon rest in silence. Creatures drift through the shadows with slow, graceful movements, living lives entirely hidden from our understanding. Even our most advanced machines have touched only a small portion of these depths. The untouched waters hold stories older than language, older than life itself. They store heat, shape weather, guide currents, and cradle ecosystems that no human eye has ever witnessed. These remote, quiet places help keep Earth stable, balancing temperatures and supporting life far beyond their hidden borders. You live on a world wrapped in mystery, held by expanses of water that continue their quiet work without ever being disturbed. And somewhere within that untouched blue, another calming truth is waiting to rise. Comment 71 to continue, because above these vast oceans, tiny drifting droplets create something beautifully delicate. Calm fact number 5. Clouds are made of tiny floating water. Droplets. If you've ever looked up at the sky and felt a sense of softness, there's a reason for that. Clouds, with all their shapes and drifting curls, are made of tiny droplets of water, so small and light that they float in the air as if resisting gravity's gentle pull. Each droplet is formed when water vapor meets cooler air, condensing into a bead so delicate it can remain suspended for hours or even days, drifting quietly across the sky. And for a moment, everything feels calm, as if the world is wrapped in light. Imagine holding a single droplet between your fingertips. Now, imagine millions of those droplets gathered together, reflecting sunlight in subtle shades of white, gray or gold. Clouds are not solid things. They are gatherings of softness, moving slowly with the wind, shifting shapes as they travel. Some stretch thin like brushed paint strokes. Others rise tall and fluffy, towering with silent grandeur. Yet each one, no matter how large, begins with a single tiny bead of water waiting to join another. These droplets float through cycles of rising and cooling, merging and separating, growing and disappearing. Their movements guide weather, bring rain, shade the earth, and cool warm days with their drifting shadows. They remind us that even the sky is filled with water, gentle, weightless, and endlessly patient. The next time you look upward, remember that those clouds are simply countless droplets holding hands in the air, waiting for their next transformation. And somewhere in their drifting journey, the next calming truth begins to form. Type soft cloud. If clouds calm your mind, because the way water regulates Earth's temperature is even more soothing. Calm fact number 6. Water regulates Earth's temperature gently and constantly. If you ever wonder why our planet feels balanced, why its climates shift, but rarely in sudden extremes, the answer often lies in water's gentle ability to hold and release heat. Water warms slowly and cools slowly, smoothing out the sharp edges of temperature that might otherwise unsettle the world. Oceans cradle sunlight during the day, keeping it stored within their depths, and release that warmth only when the air grows cooler. This slow exchange acts like a calming breath across the entire Earth, and for a moment, everything feels steady and predictable. Imagine a coastline at sunset. The land cools quickly under the fading light, but the water remains warm, sighing its heat back into the air. This soft release keeps nearby nights milder, creating a stable environment for life. Far out at sea, massive currents move warmth across continents, guiding weather patterns with silent precision. These currents are like Earth's bloodstream, circulating energy to maintain balance. Even clouds, formed from water vapor, reflect sunlight gently, shielding the planet during hot days. Raindrops carry cooled air downward, refreshing landscapes after long hours of heat. Every part of water's journey plays a role in this quiet regulation. Without water, days would scorch and nights would freeze. Seasons would swing wildly, and life would struggle to find comfort. But because water responds to temperature with patience, Earth remains a place of gentle transitions and soothing rhythms. And somewhere in this calm balance, another truth flows quietly into view. Write gentle balance in the comments, because the water inside your own body follows ancient patterns just as softly. Calm fact number 7. Your body is mostly water. If you sit quietly for a moment and place a hand over your chest, you might feel your heartbeat moving softly beneath your skin. What you may not realize is that most of what surrounds that beating heart, your organs, your cells, your blood, is made of water. Nearly every part of you carries some form of it. Water flows through your veins, cushions your joints, surrounds your brain, and fills the spaces between your cells. You are, in many ways, a walking ocean contained within skin, and for a moment, everything feels deeply connected. Imagine the water inside you, moving in gentle waves. With each breath, it shifts slightly, adjusting to your posture, your temperature, your heartbeat. Every drop plays a role in keeping you alive, transporting nutrients, removing waste, regulating warmth, and supporting every quiet process that happens beneath the surface. Water is not just inside you, It is part of who you are, shaping your thoughts, your calm, your ability to rest. Even your brain, your center of memory, emotion, and imagination, is mostly water. It uses this fluid to maintain balance, protect delicate tissues, and transmit signals that guide your days and dreams. Without water, your body would lose its rhythm. Muscles would tire, the mind would blur, and the gentle harmony that sustains you would begin to fade. Knowing that you are filled with something so ancient and essential brings a soft comfort. You carry within you the same element that shapes rivers, clouds, and oceans, and somewhere in that inner tide, another calming truth begins to rise. Type inner flow. If this felt soothing, because the way water remembers heat and motion reveals another gentle secret. Calm fact. For 8. Water has a soft memory of heat and motion. If you warm your hands under a gentle stream of water, you can feel how quickly it adapts, how easily it absorbs the heat you offer. Water holds warmth in a way that feels almost intentional, storing it with a quiet patience before releasing it back into the air. This ability is a kind of soft memory, a way for water to remember the heat it has touched. And for a moment, everything feels steady, as if the warmth is being held just long enough for the world to settle around it. Motion leaves traces too. When water flows around rocks or drifts through narrow channels, it carries with it the story of its journey. Minerals dissolve gently, temperatures shift slightly, and patterns form in the currents. When scientists study these patterns, they can uncover pieces of Earth's history, climates from long ago, volcanic activity, even the slow dance of continents. Water remembers not through words, but through the quiet accumulation of what it touches and where it travels. Imagine a river smoothing stones over thousands of years. Imagine ocean currents storing warmth from distant sunlight. Imagine raindrops carrying tiny hints of the clouds they formed within. Each movement writes a small note in water's memory, one that may be revealed long after the moment has passed. This soft remembrance helps maintain balance across the planet, guiding heat, shaping landscapes, and nurturing life with effortless consistency. And somewhere in this gentle memory, the next calming truth begins to flow. Comment soft memory before we proceed, because when water gathers into rivers, its calm pathways shape the entire world. Calm fact. 9. Rivers are Earth's natural pathways of relaxation. If you've ever sat beside a river and felt your mind soften, there is a quiet science behind that feeling. Rivers move with a rhythm that mirrors patterns inside the human brain. Their flowing water produces sounds that are random enough to keep the mind gently engaged, yet predictable enough to create a sense of safety. This balance draws the brain into a calmer state, slowing thoughts and easing tension, and for a moment, everything feels effortlessly peaceful. Imagine a river winding through a valley. Its surface ripples in soft patterns, rising and falling like the breath of the earth. Light dances across the moving water, scattering into tiny flashes that fade as quickly as they appear. Beneath the surface, currents glide around stones, shaping smooth pathways over years and centuries. Every part of a river's movement is slow, patient, and natural, never rushed, never forced. This gentle flow is more than movement, it is communication. Rivers connect mountains to oceans, forests to plains, and storms to distant seas. They guide nutrients across landscapes, create habitats for life, and carve shapes into the land with quiet determination. Their steady rhythm brings balance wherever they travel. For humans, these flowing paths have always offered comfort. People gather near rivers to rest, reflect, and breathe more slowly. The sound of moving water invites the mind to drift, matching its pace to the river's calm journey toward the sea. And somewhere along that winding path, the next calming truth begins to take shape. Right river flow to let me know you're still here, because the vast oceans hold almost all of Earth's water, and their story carries an even deeper calm. Calm fact: 10. Oceans hold 97% of all Earth's water. If you were to gather all the water on Earth into a single thought, almost all of it, an overwhelming 97%, would belong to the oceans. These vast blue expanses hold nearly everything the planet has ever collected, stretching farther and deeper than any human journey can fully reach. Standing at the edge of the sea, it's easy to feel small, but it's also easy to feel calm. The ocean breathes in long, gentle rhythms, rising and falling with the quiet pull of the moon. And for a moment, everything feels softly aligned with that timeless motion. Imagine looking out across an ocean horizon. What you see is only the surface of a world that continues downward for miles into cool darkness, where strange creatures drift like living shadows. Below that, mountains rise unseen, valleys stretch without sound, and currents move with steady purpose. This enormous body of water shapes weather patterns, carries heat around the planet, and supports life in ways both subtle and profound. Even the air you breathe is influenced by the ocean. Tiny organisms near the surface release oxygen that rises into the atmosphere, contributing to the gentle balance that keeps Earth livable. Without the ocean's vast presence, the planet would be hotter, drier, and far less stable. To think that 97% of Earth's water rests within these deep blue spaces is to understand just how central, how calming, and how essential the ocean truly is. And somewhere within that endless depth, the next chapter of water's quiet story begins. Comment flowing deeper if you're ready for more calming facts, because the next chapter carries us into rivers, tides, and Earth's slow breathing patterns. Every river, no matter how wide or powerful it becomes, begins with something small and quiet. High in the mountains or deep within gentle forests, a single drop of water forms, sometimes from melting snow, sometimes from drifting mist, sometimes from rain, resting briefly on a leaf before letting go. That tiny drop begins to move, drawn by the soft pull of gravity, sliding down a slope with no awareness of the journey ahead. And for a moment, everything feels as simple as one drop meeting another. When a second drop joins the first, the movement grows just enough to create a thread of water. This thread gathers more drops, weaving a fragile path across soil and stone. It doesn't rush. It doesn't force. It simply follows the shape of the land, learning the contours of the earth one curve at a time. Over hours and days, this thin line becomes a trickle. The trickle becomes a stream, and the stream becomes the quiet beginning of a river. Imagine standing near such a beginning. The sound is delicate, almost shy, as if the water is whispering its first words. The ground looks untouched, shaped only by the gentle insistence of flowing water. Small ripples reflect soft light, hinting at the long journey ahead. With each inch the water travels, it carries minerals, memories, and potential. Seeds of valleys, forests, and life that will one day bloom along its edges. Every great river starts not with power, but with patience. And somewhere in that patience, another story waits to flow. Comment, begin flow, if this peaceful beginning felt calming. Because as these early waters gather strength, they begin shaping the land itself. Rivers carve the shape of continents. When you picture a river flowing across the land, it may seem gentle, almost effortless. But over long stretches of time, that quiet movement becomes one of the most powerful sculptors on earth. A river does not carve continents through force. It does so through patience. Drop by drop, year after year, it wears away stone, carries soil, and shapes the pathways where forests, valleys, and entire ecosystems will one day thrive. And for a moment, everything feels guided by a soft but determined hand. Imagine a river beginning its journey in the mountains. It winds through narrow passages, smoothing sharp rocks into rounded stones. With every bend, it creates new curves in the land. As it travels farther, the river widens, gathering sediments that it will eventually spread across distant plains. These fine particles nourish the soil, allowing life to grow where once there was only barren ground. Over thousands of years, rivers carve canyons deeper than cities are tall. They shape landscapes so vast that only time itself can measure their work. The Grand Canyon, one of Earth's greatest wonders, was shaped by nothing more than the persistent flow of the Colorado River, proof that gentleness, when sustained, becomes power. Rivers also create fertile deltas where they meet the sea, fanning out into networks of channels that support abundant life. These regions become homes for plants, animals, and human civilizations, all benefiting from the river's slow artistry. A river is both traveler and creator, carrying history in its currents while shaping the world beneath it. And somewhere within its winding journey, another calming truth begins to form. Type shaped by water to show you're following the flow, because the rhythm of a river does more than shape land. It also calms the human mind. The calm rhythm of river flow helps the brain relax. When you sit beside a river and listen to its steady movement, something gentle happens inside your mind. The flowing water creates a pattern of sound that is both unpredictable and soothing. It shifts, ripples, and murmurs in ways that keep your thoughts lightly engaged without demanding attention. This delicate balance draws the brain into a calmer state, slowing the restless activity that often fills our minds. And for a moment, everything feels aligned with the river's quiet rhythm. Scientists call this type of sound low-frequency natural noise, a pattern that matches the slower brainwave states linked to relaxation and early stages of sleep. The mind responds instinctively, releasing tension as the sound wraps around it like a soft blanket. Even the visual flow of water contributes to this effect, the way ripples catch the light, the way currents weave through each other, the way the surface moves in gentle cycles. Each motion mirrors the subtle rhythms within the human nervous system. Imagine following a river with your eyes, each bend softening your focus a little more. Thoughts begin to slow, drifting like leaves carried by the current. Breathing deepens, shoulders loosen. The world grows quieter, even if only for a moment. This is why people across cultures and generations have been drawn to rivers, not just for survival, but for calm. A river speaks in a language without words, inviting the mind to rest alongside it. And somewhere in that restful flow, the next gentle truth awaits. Comment, rhythmic calm, before we continue. Because every river has its own personality shaped by its path and pace. Why, every river has its own gentle personality. If you stand beside different rivers, you'll notice something surprising. Each one feels distinct, almost as if it carries a personality shaped by its journey. Some rivers flow with quiet consistency, moving like long, steady breaths across the land. Others twist and turn with curious energy, carving playful paths through forests and fields. A few travel with slow determination, their waters wide and deep, holding centuries of sediment and silence. And for a moment, everything feels alive with subtle character. The personality of a river begins with its birthplace. A river born in mountains tends to move quickly at first, rushing over rocks in bright, sparkling leaps. One that begins on flat plains may drift lazily, taking its time as it explores the land. The width of the channel, the temperature of the water, the slope of the ground, all of these elements create unique moods. Even the sound of a river reveals its nature. Some murmur softly, some hum steadily, and others whisper only when the wind brushes the surface. Animals and plants respond to these differences too. Certain fish prefer cold, swift rivers, while others thrive in warm, slow-moving waters. Willows lean toward gentle banks, while tall grasses gather near broader flows. Each river supports a distinct community, shaped by its personality. Imagine walking along a river you've never seen before. Its motion tells you its story without saying a word. You sense whether it is calm, playful, ancient, or young, simply by observing its flow. And somewhere in those flowing traits, the next quiet mystery awaits. Type river personality to continue your journey, because some rivers don't stay on the surface. They disappear quietly beneath the ground. Underground rivers. The secret calm. Beneath our feet, beneath the familiar world we walk upon, where forests grow and sunlight falls freely, lies another realm shaped entirely by water. Underground rivers move through this hidden space with an almost indescribable calm. They do not sparkle like surface streams or rush loudly over stones. Instead, they glide in darkness, carving secret passageways through layers of rock, flowing with a patience that feels ancient and unhurried. And for a moment, everything feels suspended in quiet mystery. These rivers often begin when water seeps into the ground, slipping through soil and vanishing into cracks that widen over centuries. In limestone regions, they create vast cave systems, shaping tunnels with slow persistence. The sound of an underground river is softer than a whisper, gentle trickles, distant echoes, the faint rhythm of droplets falling from stone ceilings. There is no wind, no light, only the steady presence of water, moving exactly where gravity guides it. Imagine walking through such a cavern. The air is cool, the walls curve naturally as if shaped by time's own hands, and the river beside you glides like a quiet thought. Underground rivers carry minerals that build shimmering formations, stalactites and stalagmites growing one drop at a time. Life exists here too, adapted to darkness. Blind fish, pale insects, tiny creatures that navigate by sensing vibrations. These hidden waterways remind us that much of Earth's beauty remains unseen, unfolding slowly in the spaces below. And somewhere in that deep, quiet flow, the next gentle truth begins to rise. Comment, hidden silence, if this secret world felt calming, because every quiet river, seen or unseen, helps sustain life in ways we seldom notice. How rivers feed life without making a sound. If you follow a river from its quiet beginnings to its wider, gentler stretches, you'll notice how life gathers around it without noise or announcement. Rivers feed entire ecosystems silently. They bring minerals from mountains, carry nutrients through valleys, and deliver fresh water to plains where plants reach toward the sun. Every step of this journey supports life in ways that unfold softly, almost invisibly. And for a moment, everything feels interconnected by a flow too delicate to disturb. Imagine a forest where roots stretch toward the riverbank. Trees lean ever so slightly to drink the moisture rising from the soil. Leaves shimmer, brighter because the river feeds them from below. Animals come not in chaotic rushes but in quiet patterns. Deer lowering their heads to drink, birds pausing at the water's edge, insects drifting along the surface. Even the smallest creatures rely on this nourishment. Fish feeding on the drifting nutrients, moss growing on stones that stay damp year-round. Rivers also refresh the land after long dry periods, carrying new sediments that enrich the soil. When they flood gently, they spread fertile layers that make entire regions bloom again. This cycle repeats endlessly, with no need for sound or spectacle. The river simply moves, and life follows. If you listen closely beside a calm stretch of river, you may not hear much at all. Yet beneath that silence, everything is being sustained. A river's quiet generosity shapes worlds without asking for anything in return. And somewhere along that steady path, the next calming truth begins to flow. Write gentle feeding in the comments. Because when these nourishing waters finally meet the ocean, another soft transformation begins. The meeting point, when rivers flow into the sea. There is a quiet beauty in the place where a river meets the sea, a soft merging that feels less like an ending and more like a gentle surrender. As rivers travel across land, they carry memories of mountains, forests, storms, and soil. When they finally reach the ocean, they release all they have gathered into a vast waiting expanse. The meeting is not sudden or dramatic. It unfolds slowly, with currents blending like two breaths becoming one. And for a moment, everything feels balanced between what was carried and what will continue. Imagine standing near the mouth of a great river. The water grows wider, calmer, as if preparing itself for reunion. The color shifts from earthy tones to deeper blues. Sediments swirl gently, creating patterns that drift toward the open sea. Here, the river expands into a delta, a network of branching channels that spread like fingertips, reaching into salt water. This is where nutrients nurture countless forms of life, where young fish grow in sheltered pools before venturing into the ocean's vastness. The meeting point is also a place of transformation. Fresh water becomes salt water. Calm currents join tidal rhythms. The river's steady motion begins to blend with the ocean's slow breathing pulse. It is the moment where one journey ends and another begins, though the water itself never stops moving. To watch this quiet union is to understand how connected the world truly is, and somewhere beyond this merging line, another calming truth is waiting in the deep. Type meeting point if this soft merging felt peaceful, because the sounds of a river and why they help us sleep carry their own gentle science. Why river sounds help us sleep. If you've ever fallen asleep beside a river or drifted off while listening to flowing water, there is a simple, calming reason behind it. River sounds sit in a unique space between silence and noise. They are gentle enough not to startle, yet varied enough to keep the mind from wandering into stress. This balance creates a soothing environment where thoughts soften, the heartbeat slows, and the body releases tension naturally. And for a moment, everything feels held in a quiet, rhythmic cradle. The subtle randomness in river sounds, ripples shifting, bubbles rising, water brushing stones, engages the brain just enough to occupy restless thoughts. But because the patterns are soft and predictable, your mind doesn't have to work. It simply relaxes into the flow. Scientists call this pink noise, a sound that mirrors natural rhythms found in the body. The pace of breath, the rise and fall of blood pressure, even the gentle waves of the brain easing towards sleep. Imagine lying near a river at dusk. The world fades into deeper shades of blue, and all you hear is water, moving with unhurried purpose. Each small sound blends with the next, forming a continuous stream that guides your mind into stillness. Worries loosen their grip. The body becomes heavier, grounded by the quiet presence of flowing water. Rivers don't try to lull you to sleep. They simply exist in a way that makes rest easier. And somewhere within that peaceful soundscape, another calming truth drifts into view. Comment sleep sound if river sounds have ever helped you relax. Because the longest rivers carry not just sound, but the memories of entire continents. The longest rivers carry Earth's memory across continents. When a river stretches across an entire continent, it becomes more than water moving from one place to another. It becomes a keeper of memory. The world's longest rivers, like the Amazon, Nile, and Yangtze, carry stories embedded in every drop. They pass through forests, deserts, mountains, and plains, gathering fragments of each landscape along the way. Sediments, minerals, fallen leaves, shifting temperatures all flow together in a quiet archive of Earth's history. And for a moment, everything feels connected by these winding blue pathways. Imagine the Nile beginning as small streams in distant highlands. It grows as tributaries join, widening as it moves northward, carrying the memory of rainfalls, volcanic soil, ancient climates, and life that thrived along its banks thousands of years ago. Or picture the Amazon, sweeping through dense rainforest, absorbing nutrients, pollen, and the faint signatures of countless species living beneath its canopy. Every mile adds another layer to its story. As these long rivers travel, they shape ecosystems, nourish millions of lives, and record the patterns of changing seasons. Scientists can read these memories by studying sediments and chemical traces in the water, revealing shifts in climate, vegetation, and even past civilizations. The river remembers without intention. Its memory is simply the natural result of movement through time and place. These great waterways remind us that the earth is always writing, always recording, always carrying its past forward. And somewhere within that unbroken journey, the next calming truth begins to flow. Type long journey if you're still flowing with the story. Because all rivers, no matter how vast or ancient, eventually return to the rhythm of breath. Rivers are Earth's quiet breathing. If you imagine Earth as a living being, its rivers become something more than flowing water. They become breath, slow, continuous, and essential. Just as you inhale and exhale without thinking, rivers move across the land in gentle cycles, carrying life-giving water from mountains to seas and back again through clouds and rain. Their flow mirrors the rise and fall of the chest, a natural rhythm that brings balance to the world. And for a moment, everything feels alive with quiet harmony. Picture a river winding through a valley. As it narrows, its pace quickens, like an inhale drawing energy inward. As it widens, the flow slows, releasing that energy outward like an exhale, softening the body. This repeating pattern echoes the rhythm found in countless living things: your heartbeat, your breath, the gentle pulsing of ocean tides. Water responds to gravity the way lungs respond to air, naturally, intuitively, endlessly. When rivers flood gently, they spread nutrients across the land, much like how breath nourishes your blood with oxygen. When they retreat, they leave behind fertile soil, preparing the landscape for new growth. Everywhere they touch, they bring renewal. Even their quiet sounds, the trickle, the murmur, the low hum, carry the same calming effect as slow breathing, inviting the mind to settle. To see rivers as Earth's breathing is to understand how deeply connected everything is: water, land, air, and life moving together in a soft, repeating cycle. And somewhere beyond that gentle rhythm, the next chapter begins to rise like a calm tide. Comment, gentle breath, if this river rhythm felt soothing, because now we drift from rivers into the vast ancient calm of the oceans. The ocean holds almost all the water on Earth. When you look at a map of our planet, the first thing you notice is the blue. Vast stretches of water that wrap around the continents like a quiet embrace. These oceans hold almost all the water on Earth, gathered into deep basins that have existed for millions of years. Standing at the shore, it is easy to forget how immense they truly are. But if you listen closely to the slow rhythm of the waves, you can feel their presence stretching far beyond the horizon. And for a moment, everything feels beautifully unified by this endless calm. Imagine the ocean not just as a surface, but as a layered world. Beneath the shimmering top lies a vastness so deep that sunlight disappears after only a short distance. Below that, darkness blankets entire mountain ranges hidden beneath the sea. Valleys deeper than any canyon on land rest in total stillness, and through all of it moves an almost unbroken body of water, currents drifting like silent threads connecting every coastline on Earth. Oceans store heat, shape weather, guide storms, and support countless forms of life. The water inside them evaporates into clouds, returns as rain, and completes the cycle that keeps our world alive. Nearly everything on the planet depends on this massive reservoir of calm. Even the air you breathe carries traces of what the ocean creates each day. It is the quiet engine of Earth's balance, working with a patience that spans ages. And somewhere in this boundless blue, the next story begins to deepen. Comment, deep blue, if this vast ocean calm reached you, because beneath the surface, light fades quickly, and darkness becomes a gentle world of its own. Light travels only a short distance into the sea. When sunlight touches the surface of the ocean, it sparkles like scattered diamonds, bright and inviting. But this light does not travel far. After only a short distance, it softens, dims, and slowly disappears into deepening blue. The ocean holds its own quiet darkness, a gentle shade that deepens with every meter. And for a moment, everything feels hushed, as if the sea itself is protecting a secret world hidden beneath the surface. Imagine diving beneath warm, sunlit waves. At first, the water glows softly as light ripples around you, but as you drift downward, the brightness fades. Colors begin to vanish one by one, reds first, then oranges, then yellows, until only cool blues and greens remain. Deeper still, Even those disappear, replaced by a calm, velvety darkness that feels soothing rather than frightening. This darkness is not empty. It is a home for countless creatures who have learned to thrive without sunlight. Some create their own glow, soft blues, greens, and gentle sparkles that drift like stars suspended in water. Others move silently through the shadows, shaped by the stillness around them. The deep ocean feels like night that never ends, a world where time slows and everything breathes more quietly. Light's short journey into the sea creates two worlds, the bright, living surface and the soft, infinite calm below. And each world carries its own form of beauty. To know how far light travels is to appreciate the peaceful mystery beneath. And somewhere in that fading glow, another truth is waiting to rise. Type soft midnight. If deep-sea darkness feels calming to you, because in that darkness, life creates something even more miraculous, oxygen for the world above. The ocean generates. Most of the oxygen you breathe. Take a slow breath. Feel the air fill your lungs, cool and quiet. More than half of the oxygen in that breath, maybe even more than you expect, comes from the ocean. Not from forests or mountains or fields, but from tiny drifting organisms that float near the sunlit surface of the sea. These microorganisms, called phytoplankton, are so small that millions can fit in a single drop of water, yet they carry the quiet responsibility of keeping the world breathing. And for a moment, everything feels connected by something delicate and unseen. Imagine these tiny plants suspended in the upper layers of the ocean, glowing faintly as sunlight reaches them. They drift with currents, rising during the day and sinking at night, following rhythms as old as the sea itself. Through photosynthesis, they release oxygen into the water and the atmosphere, creating the invisible foundation that supports life on Earth. Without them, the air would thin, the climate would shift, and the balance of life would crumble. Phytoplankton are not alone in this work. Seaweed, algae, and even certain bacteria contribute their share, each forming part of an underwater forest that stretches farther and wider than any landscape on land. Though silent and unseen, this oceanic community breathes life into the world above. Every inhale you take carries the ocean's quiet gift, oxygen shaped by sunlight, water, and time. And somewhere in that breath, the next gentle truth emerges. Write ocean breath in the comments, because when we travel deeper, the ocean reveals its vast hidden world, the largest habitat on Earth. The deep sea is the largest habitat on Earth. Beneath the familiar waves, beneath the shifting blue surface and the sunlit shallows, lies a world far larger than anything we see on land. The deep sea stretches across the planet like a vast, unbroken night, covering more space than all forests, deserts, and mountains combined. It is the largest habitat on Earth, a calm, dark realm that has existed for millions of years, untouched by sunlight, shaped only by pressure, time, and quiet. And for a moment, everything feels endless, as if the world beneath us is still waiting to be discovered. Imagine descending through layers of water. Light softens, colors fade, and the temperature drops into a gentle chill. Thousands of meters below the surface, life continues despite complete darkness. Creatures glide with slow, purposeful motion, conserving energy in a place where food is scarce and stillness is essential. Some produce soft, bioluminescent glows, tiny lanterns drifting through the blackness like stars in an underwater sky. Mountains taller than Everest rise from the ocean floor. Trenches deeper than any canyon carve into the earth. Vast plains stretch in every direction, home to species that have never been seen by human eyes. The pressure here is immense, so great that only specially adapted beings can survive. But they thrive quietly, shaped by the silence around them. The deep sea reminds us that most of our world remains unknown, gently waiting in darkness. And somewhere within that endless calm, the next glowing truth begins to appear. Type endless quiet. If this deep calm reached you, because in this darkness, creatures create their own soft light, an underwater starlight, bioluminescence, nature's softest light. In the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean, where sunlight can never reach, life has learned to paint its own glow. Bioluminescence, soft light created by living organisms, drifts through the water like a gentle constellation. Tiny plankton spark into blue flashes when the water stirs. Jellyfish pulse with faint halos that ripple through their translucent bodies. Even fish carry soft lanterns beneath their eyes, guiding them through the quiet dark. And for a moment, everything feels as if the night itself has learned to breathe light. Imagine floating in this abyss. You see no horizon, no sky, only small glimmers appearing and fading like quiet thoughts. The light is not harsh. It is subtle, cool, and soothing, illuminating just enough to reveal shapes moving slowly in the dark. Each glow has a purpose: to attract mates, to confuse predators, to lure prey, or simply to communicate. But beyond function, the light feels magical, as if the ocean holds stars within its deepest rooms. This light is created by a chemical reaction, a gentle meeting of oxygen and special molecules inside these creatures. It happens without heat, without flame, producing a glow that seems almost emotional in its softness. Entire waves along the shore can shimmer blue at night when billions of plankton light up together, creating an ocean that sparkles with life. Bioluminescence reminds us that even in darkness, beauty finds a way to shine quietly. And somewhere behind this soft glow, another calming truth drifts closer. Comment soft light if this underwater glow felt magical, because the ocean itself moves with slow planet-sized currents, guiding life across the world. The ocean moves in slow planet-sized currents beneath the surface of the ocean, far below the waves you see from shore. Great rivers of water are constantly moving. These ocean currents stretch across entire hemispheres, drifting with a patience that spans centuries. They are slow, steady, and deliberate, guiding warmth from the equator toward colder regions and carrying cool water back in return. This movement acts like Earth's circulatory system, balancing temperatures and supporting life across continents. And for a moment, everything feels as though the planet is breathing in long, calm cycles. Imagine following one of these currents. It may begin as warm water rising from tropical seas, pushed forward by winds and shaped by the Earth's rotation. It travels thousands of miles, brushing coastlines, slipping beneath storms, and flowing past islands that have never seen its deeper currents. As it moves north, the water cools, grows heavier, and slowly sinks into the deep ocean, joining colder currents that return southward in a looping, endless journey. This global system, known as the thermohaline circulation, is one of the most important forces shaping climate. It keeps winters milder in some regions and maintains stable weather across the planet. Without these slow-moving currents, the world would shift into extremes: hotter, colder, less predictable. Yet for all their power, the currents remain gentle. They move quietly, almost invisibly, carrying memories of distant places with them. The ocean's heartbeat flows through these currents, connecting the world in a calm, continuous rhythm, and somewhere along that vast circulation, another truth begins to rise with the tides. Right, ocean heart, if this slow rhythm felt peaceful, because above these moving waters, the moon guides a gentle motion of its own. Tides, the gentle pull of the moon. If you've ever stood at the edge of the ocean and watched the waves creep slowly forward only to retreat moments later, you have witnessed one of the softest interactions between Earth and the sky. Tides move because the moon is gently pulling on the water, lifting it ever so slightly as Earth turns beneath it. This pull is quiet, steady, and ancient, a cosmic gesture repeated every day without a pause. And for a moment, everything feels connected by a force too gentle to see, but impossible to ignore. Imagine the moon hanging above the ocean, its pale glow resting on the water. Though far away, it tugs at the seas, causing them to rise toward it. On the opposite side of Earth, water rises too, creating another tide. As the planet rotates, these bulges of water shift around the globe like slow rolling breaths. High tide arrives, lingers, then slips away again, replaced by low tide's gentle retreat. This rhythm shapes life along coastlines. Crabs move with the changing water, feeding when tides are low. Birds time their searches for food with the exposed sand. Entire ecosystems synchronize with the lunar pull, adapting their habits to this cosmic heartbeat. The moon's influence also helps mix ocean waters, distributing nutrients and keeping coastal environments healthy. Tides remind us that movement can be both powerful and calming, guided not by noise or force, but by quiet attraction. And somewhere beneath this lunar rhythm, another truth about ocean life begins to unfold. Type moon pull if this gentle lunar tug felt soothing. Because where water meets sunlight and color, a very different kind of calm begins. In the coral reefs, the quiet cities of the sea, beneath warm, clear waters where sunlight filters down in soft ribbons, lie coral reefs, vast underwater cities built not by stone or metal, but by tiny living creatures. Corals may appear still, almost like carved sculptures, but each one is alive, working quietly to build the structures that shelter thousands of species. These reefs hum with gentle motion, fish drifting between coral towers, sea plants swaying in slow rhythms, and light shimmering across the surface like a gentle heartbeat. And for a moment, everything feels peacefully alive. Imagine floating above a reef. Bright colors unfold beneath you, soft pinks, deep blues, pale greens, painted by both the corals and the creatures that call them home. Small fish flicker in and out of view, moving with delicate purpose. Larger fish cruise by in serene arcs, comfortable in these intricate corridors. Every part of a reef fits together like a living puzzle, each piece supporting another. Coral reefs also protect coastlines, soften waves, and provide food and shelter for countless forms of life. They are among the most diverse ecosystems on the planet, often compared to rainforests for their abundance and complexity. Yet, despite this richness, the atmosphere within a reef remains calm. Movements are slow, interactions quiet, and every sound feels softened by the water around it. These reef cities remind us that beauty does not need noise or speed. Sometimes it emerges from patience and harmony, And somewhere beyond these colorful structures, another gentle giant of the ocean begins to move into view. Right quiet reef, if these underwater cities felt peaceful, because deeper in the blue, enormous creatures move with surprising gentleness. Whales, gentle giants of the deep, far beneath the rolling surface, where the water grows cool and the world moves a little more slowly, the largest animals on Earth glide with a grace that seems almost impossible for their size. Whales are true giants, yet their movements carry a softness that feels calming to anyone who watches them. They rise to breathe, exhale in quiet plumes, and slip back into the deep with a smoothness that barely disturbs the water. And for a moment, everything feels balanced between strength and gentleness. Imagine a blue whale, the biggest creature to ever live, moving through the ocean with steady, rhythmic strokes. Its heartbeat, slow and powerful, can be heard from miles away in the deep. Smaller whales sing long, drifting notes that echo through underwater valleys, creating melodies that travel farther than any sound made by land animals. These songs help them communicate, navigate, and find one another across vast distances. Whales are also caretakers of the ocean's health. Their movements stir nutrients upward, feeding tiny organisms that produce oxygen for the planet. Their migrations shape entire ecosystems, guiding the ebb and flow of marine life. Despite their size, whales embody calm. They conserve energy, move purposefully, and live in harmony with the rhythms of the sea. Watching a whale rise and sink into the ocean is like witnessing a living wave carrying the weight of ancient oceans within its gentle motion. And somewhere beneath their long journeys, the next quiet truth begins to emerge. Comment Gentilgent, if whales bring you calm, because hidden within the ocean's depths are stories older than any creature alive today. Oceans hold the oldest stories on Earth. Long before forests covered the land or mountains rose into the sky, the oceans were already here, wide, deep, and filled with the earliest whispers of Earth's history. Every wave that rolls toward the shore carries fragments of the past, ancient minerals, drifting sediments, and traces of life that existed long before humans appeared. The ocean is not just a body of water. It is a vast library, storing memories in layers of sand, stone, and quiet movement. And for a moment, everything feels connected across time. Imagine descending into the deep, where the ocean floor holds clues from millions of years ago. Fossils lie hidden beneath layers of sediment, preserving the shapes of creatures that once swam through prehistoric seas. Volcanic rocks record the birth of underwater mountains. Even the temperature of deep waters reflects patterns of ancient climates, revealing how Earth has changed and how it has healed. Currents carry chemical signatures from distant places, blending stories from one part of the world with another. Tiny organisms drift through these waters, continuing cycles that began long before humans learned to walk. Each part of the ocean, from the surface to the deepest trench, holds a record of what the Earth has seen, endured, and become. The ocean remembers without words, without sound, only through motion and time. And somewhere within those ancient waters, the next chapter rises gently toward the sky. Type, ready for there, if you're prepared to drift into the next calm chapter, because now we leave the deep blue and rise into the soft world of clouds, mist, and sky. How mist forms the softest shape of water. Before clouds gather, before raindrops fall, water sometimes chooses a gentler form, mist. It appears in quiet hours, often at dawn, drifting like a soft veil across fields, forests, and lakes. Mist forms when warm, moist air meets cooler temperatures, causing tiny droplets to hang suspended in the air. These droplets are so small, so delicate, that they float rather than fall, creating a world where everything feels hushed and softened. And for a moment, the earth seems to breathe in silence. Imagine stepping into a landscape wrapped in mist. The edges of trees blur. Sound becomes muted, as if wrapped in cotton. Even your footsteps feel quieter. Mist doesn't rush or rise sharply. It settles gently, folding itself around the world in layers that shift with the faintest breeze. Sunlight filters through it in pale beams, turning the air into a glowing silver. In this softened light, time feels slower, kinder, almost weightless. Mist reminds us that water doesn't always arrive with force. Sometimes it chooses presence over movement, offering calm instead of rhythm. These floating droplets nourish plants, cool the morning air, and form the beginning of clouds that will later rise into the sky. Mist is water in its most peaceful form, quiet, patient, and beautifully subtle. As it drifts, mist teaches the world how to be still, and somewhere within that stillness, the next gentle transformation begins. Comment soft mist if this moment felt peaceful, because as mist begins to rise, it gathers into the drifting rivers of the sky. Clouds, clouds, the sky's slow-moving rivers. When mist begins to rise and gather, it transforms into something larger, something that drifts across the sky with a calm confidence. Clouds are like slow-moving rivers suspended in the air, carrying water across continents without ever touching the ground. Each cloud is made of countless tiny droplets or ice crystals, floating together in a delicate balance of temperature, sunlight, and wind. And for a moment, everything above you feels alive with quiet purpose. Imagine lying on your back and watching the sky. Clouds shift shapes without sound, stretching, folding, and drifting as if guided by a gentle hand. Some move in long, thin strands, almost like silk pulled across the sky. Others gather into soft, rounded forms that resemble mountains of cotton. Each type of cloud tells a quiet story about the air, the moisture, and the invisible rivers moving through the atmosphere. These sky rivers carry water from oceans to faraway lands where it will eventually fall as rain or snow. They cool warm days by blocking sunlight. They paint sunsets with colors that ripple through their soft edges. They even help regulate Earth's temperature, reflecting heat back into space when the world grows too warm. Clouds remind us that movement doesn't always require sound. Sometimes it's enough to drift, to float, to simply be carried by the wind. And somewhere within that drifting lightness, the next gentle truth begins to form. Type Sky River if clouds help you feel calm. Because soon, these sky rivers release their gift back to the earth. Rain, rain, the sky, returning water to earth. When clouds can no longer hold all the droplets gathered within them, something gentle happens. They release their weight, letting water fall back to the earth. Rain is the sky's way of returning what it borrowed, completing a cycle that has shaped the planet for billions of years. Each raindrop begins as a tiny bead of moisture clinging to dust or ice inside a cloud. As more droplets join, they grow heavier until gravity invites them to descend. And for a moment, the world pauses to welcome this quiet return. Imagine standing beneath a soft rain. The sound is delicate, a steady tapping that seems to calm the air around you. Leaves glisten, soil drinks deeply. The scent of the earth rises in a warm, comforting wave. Rain cools the heat of the day, washes away dust, and replenishes rivers, lakes, and oceans. Every drop carries the memory of its journey from ocean to sky to cloud and finally back home. Rain also nurtures life in ways we rarely see. It seeps into roots, fills underground aquifers, and provides essential moisture for plants and animals. Even the quietest drizzle has purpose, feeding ecosystems with gentle persistence. And when the rain stops, the world feels cleaner, softer, as if refreshed by the simple act of falling water. Rain is a reminder that return can be just as beautiful as departure. And somewhere within that falling rhythm, the next soft transformation begins to gather. Comment rain drift. If this gentle rain felt soothing, because sometimes water doesn't fall from the sky, it drifts through the air as fog embracing the earth. Fog, the ground-level cloud that hugs the earth. Fog is one of water's most intimate forms, a cloud that lowers itself from the sky to wrap gently around the land. It forms when cool air meets moist ground, causing tiny droplets to gather so close to the earth that they seem to touch everything at once. Fog doesn't fall or rise sharply. It drifts, settles, and holds the world in a soft, muted embrace. And for a moment, everything feels closer, quieter, as if wrapped in a blanket of calm. Imagine waking up to a morning filled with fog. Trees become silhouettes. Roads fade into soft gray. Even familiar surroundings feel transformed into a peaceful dreamscape. Sound moves differently too, softened and slowed, as though each noise must pass through a layer of stillness before reaching your ears. You breathe the cool, damp air and feel it settling lightly against your skin. Fog nourishes the earth in subtle ways. Its droplets cling to leaves and grasses, providing moisture where rain does not reach. In some forests, fog is a primary source of water, sustaining entire ecosystems with its delicate touch. Animals move quietly through it, protected by its low-hanging cover, while plants gather its gentle condensation drop by drop. Fog reminds us that stillness itself can be a form of movement, soft, patient, and full of presence. And somewhere within this quiet embrace, another delicate form of water begins to take shape. Type earth hug. If this quiet embrace felt calming, because when fog freezes into perfect geometry, it becomes one of nature's most delicate miracles. Snowflakes. Snowflakes, tiny crystals of frozen calm. When cold air settles over drifting moisture, something delicate begins to form. Tiny crystals that fall from the sky as snowflakes. Each snowflake starts as a single droplet of water that freezes around a speck of dust in the clouds. As it travels through colder layers of air, it grows outward in intricate symmetrical patterns. No two snowflakes are exactly alike, yet each one carries a quiet beauty shaped by temperature, humidity, and the softness of its descent. And for a moment, the world feels gentler as these frozen shapes drift downward. Imagine a snowfall beginning at dusk. The air grows still. Streetlights glow in faint halos, catching flakes as they spiral slowly to the ground. Sounds soften under the blanket of snow. Footsteps become muted. Wind feels quieter. Even the world's movements seem to pause. Snow insulates the earth with its light, feathery touch, helping plants rest and preserving warmth beneath its frozen layer. Each snowflake is a tiny sculpture crafted by nature, forming branches and patterns that seem impossibly precise. Their hexagonal shapes reflect the structure of water molecules bonding in cold air. Yet, despite their beauty, snowflakes are fragile. A single warm breath can melt them instantly. Snow is water in its most intricate and peaceful form, turning landscapes into quiet canvases of white. It reminds us that calm can fall from the sky in shapes both simple and extraordinary. And somewhere within that quiet descent, another gentle truth begins to rise. Write crystal calm if snow brings you peace, because even the air you breathe carries invisible water that moves through you with every moment. Humidity, the invisible water we breathe, every breath you take carries more than air. It carries tiny droplets of water suspended all around you. This invisible moisture, known as humidity, is one of the quietest forms of water, blending seamlessly into the atmosphere. You can't see it, and often you can't feel it directly, yet it shapes your comfort, your skin, your breath, and even your mood. And for a moment, everything feels softly connected with each inhale. Imagine walking outside on a warm morning. The air feels thicker, smoother against your skin, as though it carries a gentle weight. That sensation comes from the water vapor around you. Not droplets, not mist, but molecules moving freely through the air. When humidity is high, the world feels warmer because moisture holds heat close to the skin. When it's low, the air feels crisp and light, allowing warmth to escape more quickly. Plants depend on humidity to stay hydrated, absorbing moisture from the air when rain is scarce. Forests create their own pockets of humidity, releasing water vapor through their leaves in a slow, steady rhythm. Even your body plays a part. Each breath releases a little moisture, adding to the world's quiet cycle of evaporation and return. Humidity reminds us that water accompanies us everywhere, even when unseen. It moves through your lungs, settles gently on your skin, and drifts in the air around you. An invisible companion woven into every moment of your day. And somewhere within this unseen presence, another gentle truth begins to emerge. Comment, invisible calm, if this felt soothing, because the water around you is also the water within you, flowing gently through every cell. Inside you, the water flowing through every cell. If you close your eyes for a moment and imagine the inside of your own body, you might picture organs, bones, or the steady beat of your heart. But beneath all of that, flowing through every cell, is water, quiet, essential, and endlessly moving. More than half of your body is made of it, and each drop carries out a purpose as old as life itself. And for a moment, everything feels gently aligned with this inner tide. Water surrounds your cells like a soft cushion, keeping them stable and flexible. It transports nutrients, carries away waste, and helps create the gentle electrical signals that allow your brain to think and your muscles to move. Even your blood, flowing through you with quiet determination, is mostly water, carrying oxygen to every corner of your body. Imagine this inner river moving beneath your skin. It shifts with your breath, responds to your temperature, and circulates with your heartbeat. Each cell receives water, uses it, and returns it to the flow, creating a cycle as calm and constant as the movement of tides. Without water, nothing inside you could stay balanced. Your thoughts would slow, your muscles would weaken, and your body's rhythms would falter. Water also protects your most delicate parts. It cushions your brain lubricates your joints, and keeps your eyes clear so you can see the world with ease. It is both a shield and a guide, moving silently through your inner landscape, and somewhere within this flowing presence, one more gentle rhythm begins to take shape. Right inner water, if this inner calm felt real to you, because the heartbeat that moves this water creates a soothing rhythm of its own. Your heartbeat moves water in a gentle rhythm. Place your hand over your chest for a moment and feel the steady thump beneath your skin. That rhythm, soft and persistent, is the force that moves water through your body. Each heartbeat creates a wave, a gentle surge that pushes blood through vessels, carrying oxygen, nutrients, and warmth to every corner of you. It is a quiet engine working every second of your life, and for a moment, everything feels centered around this peaceful pulse. Imagine the journey of water as your heart sends it forward. It travels through wide arteries, then into narrower paths, flowing like tiny rivers branching into delicate streams. With each pulse, the flow strengthens, then softens, mirroring the rise and fall of your breath. This rhythm synchronizes your body's systems, calming your nervous system and grounding your thoughts. Even when you sleep, your heartbeat continues its soothing work, keeping your inner world balanced. Your heartbeat also changes with emotion. When you feel peaceful, the rhythm slows and moves more evenly, allowing water and blood to circulate smoothly. When excitement rises, the rhythm quickens, sending energy through your body with faster currents. But always, it returns to a calmer beat, a steady reminder of your built-in rhythm of life. This gentle motion echoes the patterns of nature, waves, tides, river currents, all moving with soft persistence. You carry that same calm within you, flowing quietly through every beat. And somewhere within this soft inner pulse, the next calming truth begins to unfold. Comment, gentle pulse, if your heartbeat feels calmer now, because even your breath carries water, releasing tiny clouds every time you exhale. Breath, releasing tiny clouds with every exhale. Every time you breathe out, something quiet and beautiful happens. Your breath carries tiny droplets of water into the air, so small they're invisible, yet always present. These droplets drift outward like miniature clouds, woven from the warmth inside your body, meeting the cooler air around you. And for a moment, everything feels connected through this gentle exchange with the world. Imagine exhaling on a cold morning. A soft mist appears, curling into the air before fading away. That mist isn't smoke or dust. It's water leaving your breath, rising in the same rhythm that water rises from oceans and rivers. Even when you can't see it, the process continues. Each exhale releases a little moisture, and each inhale brings in fresh air that carries its own hidden water. You're participating in the water cycle with every breath you take. Inside your lungs, air mixes with warm, moist tissues. As you breathe out, the moisture escapes, forming droplets that drift into the atmosphere. These droplets are part of what makes indoor air feel comfortable, outdoor air feel crisp, and your own breathing feels smooth. Humans lose nearly a cup of water a day through breath alone, gently returning it to the world. Breathing is one of the simplest rhythms you have, and water moves with it effortlessly, rising, falling, drifting outward, returning inward. Each breath is a reminder that you are part of something larger, something continuous. And somewhere within this quiet exchange, the final calming truth begins to gather. Type, quiet breath, if this moment felt peaceful. Because the calmest form of water is not outside you. It is the warm stillness you feel when everything settles. Inner stillness, the calm water creates within you. There is a moment often found in deep breathing or quiet reflection, when your inner world feels as still as an untouched lake at dawn. This stillness isn't empty. It is supported by the gentle presence of water flowing through your body, cushioning your organs, softening your breath, and grounding your emotions. Water creates a natural calm within you, a quiet space where thoughts drift more slowly and the body feels gently held. And for a moment, everything feels balanced in a way that is both peaceful and deeply familiar. Imagine sitting in silence, eyes closed, feeling the warmth inside you settle. Your heartbeat softens. Your breathing slows. The inner currents that move through your body begin to match this slower pace. Just as a lake smooths when the wind stops, your inner waters become steady, creating a sense of harmony that radiates outward. This stillness helps your mind release tension. Water supports nerve function, allowing signals to travel more clearly. It cushions the brain, protecting delicate structures during moments of stress. It even helps regulate temperature, cooling you when emotions run warm and warming you when the world feels cold. All of this happens quietly without your awareness, shaping a calm that rises from within rather than from outside. Inner stillness is not something you force, it's something you return to. It is always there, waiting beneath the noise of daily life, and somewhere within that quiet, the journey of water, from stars to oceans to breath, comes together in one peaceful moment. Comment inner stillness if you felt this calm inside you, because now that all 5 chapters are complete, your full calming journey is ready to be woven into the final script. Your journey began in the quiet darkness of the universe, where the first droplets of water formed long before Earth existed. Those drifting droplets traveled through space, settling onto a young planet and shaping oceans, rivers, and the soft living systems that would one day support life. From cosmic origins, you followed water as it gathered into rivers, narrow threads that carved continents, fed forests, nurtured life, and moved with a rhythm that calms the human mind. Then you drifted into the deep oceans, where light fades into blue and life glows with its own soft fire. You moved through underwater mountains, quiet plains, and the vast habitats that hold Earth's oldest stories. You listened to tides guided by the moon, watched coral reefs breathe softly in color, and felt the gentle presence of whales moving through ancient waters. From the ocean, you rose into the sky, becoming mist, drifting into clouds, falling as rain, embracing the land as fog, and forming delicate crystals as snow. In this higher realm, water taught you softness, patience, and the beauty of quiet transitions. Finally, water returned to you. It flowed through your cells, moved with your heartbeat, drifted from your breath, and settled into the stillness that lives deep within. Here, the journey became personal, showing that the calm you seek is not far away. It is part of you. And in this final moment, everything, cosmic, earthly, and inner, comes together in one peaceful flow. As you arrive at the end of this journey, let your breath fall into a slower rhythm. You've traveled with water from the birth of the universe to the quiet inside your own heartbeat. You've moved through rivers and oceans, through clouds and mist, through the soft shapes of snow and the invisible drift of breath, And now everything settles into a peaceful stillness around you. If your eyes are growing heavy, let them close. If your thoughts feel lighter, let them drift. Nothing needs to be held. Nothing needs to be fixed. The world can wait. This moment is yours. Water has carried you from one calm truth to the next, reminding you that gentleness has power, that patience creates beauty, and that stillness isn't something you search for. It's something you return to. Let the quiet inside you expand just a little more. Let your breath soften. Let your body sink deeper into rest. You are safe here. You are supported. You are drifting in the same calm rhythm that guides oceans, clouds, and the turning of the world. And when you're ready, let sleep rise like a slow tide, carrying you into a night that breathes softly around you. Thank you for listening. If you reached the end, comment the word "flow complete" to let the journey continue.